Everyone, it's Mags here. As promised in the last tutorial, I'm starting the tutorials on my circular Sentro knitting machine. This is the front of it. It has the tension gauge here. It's got 3 different sections. That's the tightest section, that's the loosest section on the bottom. It has a row counter, which is still working on mine, but many people say that it stops working fairly quickly. I personally haven't had any problems yet. And this is the front of the machine. Right, so that's what the machine looks like. What you'll find is there are very, very tiny numbers in here, but most people don't bother with the numbers. I always class this as my first stitch, and I always mark it so that I know that is my first stitch. See, all the others are different colour. The white one to me is the first one. So that's my first cast on. And I'm going to get started. So I'm making a little bear that's fairly easy to make. I'll be using this, the Sentro 48 and the Sentro 22 needle Sentro as well. This is to do the body of the bear, and the 22 does all of the accessories such as the arms, the legs, the ears. Right, so let's get started. Right, first things first, I'm using the salmon coloured wool, and it's a drawstring cast on. And what you do is you put a length over, and you hook it under the first needle, then you loop it over the next, under the next, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, all the way along. And once you get to the, you don't pull it too tight. You don't want it to be too tight that it won't knit. You continue to do over and under until you get back to the white needle, and then I will show you what you do then. Over, under, all the way along. Oops. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, until you get back to the last needle. And if you've done it correctly, the last one before the white one, you should be over, not under, so that you're going over the back of the needle and then into the needle holder, and then you put it into your tension gauge. Some people just hold it, some people put it in the tension gauge, and you don't, when you're casting the first row on, you don't need to check if it's counting yet. You just need to make sure that everything is going on perfectly, that all of the little bits are going, all of the strands of wool are going over these little ledges, like so, till you're back to the first one. And if everything looks okay, which it does, you can usually tell here that everything's like fairly uniform, that there's nothing dropped or slipped. Then you set your counter, and this is row 1, and I'm knitting 75 rows, and then I will show you how you cast off. So I'll just keep going for 75 rows, just keep an eye on it, make sure that these are going over nicely so as not to drop any stitches or end up with any loops. And obviously with this machine it counts all the rows for you, and as you can see it's already counted my first row, and I'm just going to continue until I get to 75 rows. If I get to a point, something else I should tell you, when I get to 15 rows I put weights on, and my weights are just ordinary household pegs. I put 4 on. I start from the cast on section, and then each quadrant I'll put the pegs on. The reason for that is it helps to keep the tension nicely. And my cat's having a bit of a wobble, so I'll show you that once I get to 15 rows. I'll try and hurry it up so that I get to the 15. And I'll try and keep the tension as evenly as possible so that the work looks good. And this creates a stocking stitch. So when you take it off, one side's like the other, the other side is zero. So the stacking side is doing stocking stitch using your needles. So this up, I'll show you the date, long line. Actually, I'll do it and then show you another way. I'll then continue 75 rows. Back to the time, get to the end of 20 rows. And you can see they're all quite nicely. This is a standard 4-ply wool. I'll tell you where I got it from, because it's me by my sister. And she got it from. You just clip them on. And as you go along, you can move them up. And if it gets to a point where I think that the wool's going to touch the table, I will come back and show you what you do. But I think at 75, that's usually fine. So I shall come back. Right, I've nearly come to the end of this ball. So what I do when I come to the end is I get a new ball and I tie the ends together 5 times, like so. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut it off at the end there and pull it, make sure it's tight, and then you just carry on knitting as you normally would, and you'll probably find that it gets a bit stuck in the tension gauge. So you just take it out of the tension gauge, feed it through, and then it will knit into the garment. There we are, and then you can carry on knitting just as you had before, and that's how you do that. That I've found is the most successful way. If other people will just take the strand off and put a new strand on, but too many times I've found that I've dropped stitches doing it that way, and I don't know why, but it works pretty well for me doing it like that. Right, so I am on 60 rows, and because it's going near the table, take off the pegs. Because you want the tension to pretty much stay the same, and so what you do to stop it from dragging here and making the loops looser, you curl this up like so. This is what all of the knitters do that use these machines, and that adds the weight that you need to keep the tension the same. So I just need to do another 15 rows and we're good to go. Right, I'm just coming up on the 75th row. So let's count 75 once it gets past there. You knit past it, and that knits your 75th row. And then you stop, so that it knits that pin, but not the white pin. You want it to knit that pin to finish it off, because you're going to start casting off on the white pin. So what you do then is you measure roughly 1 to 2 times around on waste yarn, or the tail I should say. Cut that off, take it out of your tension. Right, so you want that to go down and knit like a normal stitch, and you want to wait 1 second before you tie knit that one, because that's our cast off, and this is also called a drawstring cast off. So you ignore that one, then go into this one, which was your white stitch, and you take it off. It'll go in, and I'll get a bit further down. That's it. So you take it off, you keep it level, otherwise it will pull other stitches off. And that's the first one off. You can see it's come off the little needle there. And you carry on to the next one. Don't go too far, you don't want to drop your stitch. And again, pull it through, like so. There we are. You keep going, cast them all off. Once you get really proficient at it, you can do more than one stitch at a time. You can go further along, get a couple off, keep hold of that one. Oops, yeah, that was the last one. So you need this one, and you can take this one and cast both of them off. Do 2 more. That's 1, 2. Keep your finger on this one so you don't lose that stitch. Pull it through. Do that one. Pull it through. And as you get proficient and you get used to it, you can do quite a few all at once. I prefer to take my time to ensure I don't lose any. It takes me a little while, but once I'm there I shall come back. Right, I'm just coming up to the last 3 stitches. And as I showed you, just carry on, casting off, like so. Oops, don't go into the hole properly. And this is your final one. There, and then that comes off nicely, and you pull it like so. That's why it's called a drawstring, because you pull it like a drawstring, and you work that in so it's nice. And before you do anything else, stretch out your work both lengthways and widthways, and that gets all of your stitches the same. There you go, and you can't even see where I added extra sections when the wool ran out. Alright, and then you work this around like so. Just keep working round with the needle like so. and around. That makes a really nice top if you don't ruin it by getting knots in the wool. Right. Don't ruin it by getting knots in the wool until you get to the very edge again, and then you cast it off like so. Put a loop in, you want it nice and snug. Oh, is it twisted again? Some wools like that. Pull it tight. Do it once more, keeping it near the centre of where you drew the string in. And again, nice and tight, and then you put the needle into there because you're going to be joining the bottom bit. So you put your needle right into the centre, and you're going to be joining this one. There we are, and you do the same on the other side. Pull that, draw that one in, and what you're going to be doing so when you get to this stage, you have to seal up the other end, and what you need to do is you need to put this side inside there. So I'm going to seal this up, draw string like there, draw string. This is the cast on row. Again, it's a drawstring cast on, because you're going to be pulling it together. Again, the same way that you did with the other side. Pull it together, have it nice and tight, and you sew around it. Just to make it a nice, neat, neat end. Then you decide which end you want. Where am I? Got way too much yarn here. Oh, that's the inside, so we don't want that. That's not the one I want to seal it with. It's this one that I want to seal it with. This is the cast on side, and I want to take a lot of that off. There we go, because I do not need it all. I'm doing the legs, the arms and the ears on the 22 needle Sentro. I've already done one leg, one arm, but I'm going to show you how to do the leg and arm. I don't want that in there. That's where I made the mistake of knitting that in, so take that out. we go. Pull that back out. What's come out of the needle? Don't know if I've told you about these needles. I got them on Amazon. The wide ends so that you can easily put wool in. They're dead cheap. You get a pack of quite a few, so you get different sizes, some longer than others depending on what you're working on. You sew it up together. Like so. I'll probably be stopping and starting because I find that this camera will film for a certain length of time and then stop, so but I will continue to show you what I'm doing. Right, so that's that. And then what I want to do is I want to put them in like so together. Decide which side you think looks the nicest. And you want to attach each of the ends like this to that end. Feel for it. Put the needle in the hole and out the other side to secure it together. You can go in and secure it well secured. Make sure that they're tight together. Go right in and knit them both within each other so they don't start moving around and creating different sized sides. Do a nice loop. Nice and tight to the middle. Then put it through both ends like so. So that you've got both ends. Oops, I want that one into that middle bit. Right, so you've got both ends together. Get the hole right. There we are. Ooh. And pull it through. Take it off. Pull that up. There we are. Stretch it right out. You want it so that this end is all the same size, and that's the size of your teddy bear. This will be the head, that'll be the body, and then you put the arms on. Alright, so I shall continue because I need to do the other legs, and then I'll show you what you do with the body for the head. You need to put a string through, draw a string through. You need to make sure that both sides are even. And you're going to be, again, putting a drawstring through here so that you can pull that in for the body. And it looks like it's pretty much got a natural middle, but you can measure it like so, so that you can get body head ratio right. That's where you would do your drawstring through there, but I'll come back to that. Changed over to my phone rather than the camera, just because the camera keeps turning itself off and I lost a load of footage. So I'm going to show you how to use the 22 needle Sentro. I bought this one from Shien. It's the second one I've bought. The first one didn't work very well, but they're only £8 on Shien, so you get them fairly cheap. Right, let's get my wool. Oh, so this, I've already made up the arms and the legs, but this is me showing you how I made them up. So you do the same thing. You start by putting the wool under the black needle, around the next needle, under the next needle, around, under, around, under, around, under, and so forth. Keep going to the end. And you end up going around the last needle before the black needle. Turn it off. There's no row counter on this, so you have to count your own rows, and that's why I've got the little black markers. So we'll start by putting the weight onto the end, which keeps it in place, and then you start off slowly to get the stitches in place. It can be a little bit tricky the first one. Just make sure everything's in place, and then everything should look nice and neat and the same with all the stitches caught, and then knit 30 rows. I'm not going to knit 30 rows since I've already done this. I'm going to do 20. I'm stopping at 10 actually, rather than 20. And you do exactly the same thing. You get back to the black needle, you take that off, you cut it, make sure that white needle has knitted down and caught, like so. You put this onto your needle, and you do a drawstring cast off like you did with the big main body. Okay. Oopsie-doo-doo. I don't think I've shown you I can't remember if I've shown you the drawstring cast off on this, but it's exactly the same thing. Once I get that onto the needle, you basically pick up the black needle like so. Oops, like so, and I get it hold of it, pull it through, make sure that you don't lift it up, otherwise you're going to start dropping all your stitches, and again like so, all the way around until you get back to the black needle, and that takes the whole thing off, and then you drawstring it in like so. So you're drawstringing it in so it's a nice little neat circle, and then you do the same to the cast on side, and you draw it in there, and then you put them into each other, and that makes a leg, and that is the arm. Okay, so you do 4 of them. Then for the ears, you do 15 rows for the ears, and again you draw string, cast off, draw string. This is the cast on, you draw string, and I'm going to show you how to do the ears and the rest of the arms. Okay, I shall come back once I've done those. Right, I'm going to show you now how to do the ears, and you basically do 15 rows. You gather it, drawstring it together and just tie it off. Then the other side you do exactly the same thing. Make sure it looks neat, gather it all together, get your needle, again sew it round so it's all stays in the round. Round, nice, around, and then tie it off. Do a loop. As usual, that's too long. Pierce it so that it goes in nice and tight. Do another loop. Missed the loop. Well, that should be tight. Okay, so you've got both bits pierced, and then you have to match up the two ends together in the middle. Feel for them so that they're both the same place. Take your wool, put it through one end, pull it out through the middle of the other end. Oops, like so. Pull it through. Tie it off. Like so. So both strands are on the same side. So you've got like a little circle. Tie it about 3 times. Alright. Then you fold it over like so. And from the middle, actually I'll use this one because that one's already on the needle. So from the middle you put it in, just knit it twice, it's strong enough. Fold it over so that's together, knit it in, and then stitch it along the side. Hope you can see it. I will zoom in. There we are. So you stitch all the way along. All the way to the end, like so. Right to the very end, and then loop it. it secures it. Take that off, do the same with this strand. But you're obviously working the opposite end. Sew it together on the edges. Like so. To the very end, loop it. And then what you do is you turn it in to the middle. You sew it together. What I'll actually do is I'll use this longer to do that. I can do both of them with this longer bit. Oops. Didn't do that right, did I? Right. That's better. So you bring it in to the middle, like so. You sew it in place. You do the same with the other side. Bring it in to the middle. Match them up. Once I put it down, I can match it. Oops. Right. Sew it in. So that they match up. Put a knot in. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, it's because I put the knot in the wrong one. So we'll do it again. Put a proper knot in. Like so. Tie it tight. And tie them two together to secure it fully. This needs two, I think. 1 and 2. Cut it off. You can work well into And then that makes a nice little bunny ear. There we go, we've got 2 little bunny ears. And you can put a little button in there if you want to. But that's your teddy bear bunny ears, I'm saying. That's your teddy bear ears. That will go on to the head. Okay, so that's them done. Okay, arms and legs. You do exactly the same for both. You get a good length of your yarn. And the beauty of this way is that you don't really need to use a lot of fibre fill, if any, because they're quite stiff once you've knitted them together, because they've obviously got the rest of the wool inside, doubled up. Nice bit of yarn. You get it and you fold it, and I would suggest starting at the top so that you can get a nice rounded shape. And that's my cat meowing to go out. I shall put you on hold a moment. Okay, my cat's out. Mr. Bob loves to go out. Now, what I like to do to secure the first bit is I like to tie it. Not everybody likes to tie, but I do. So that's the first bit of your leg, and make sure you're matching it up top and bottom, and then sew through each of the sides like so. Try and match up the stitches so that the stitches on that side and the stitches on this side are all going in the same direction. As you can see, they're all going that way and that way. So match them up. Makes for a nicer, neater look. And that's getting on my nerves, so I'm going to be taking that off. I'll just trim it a bit. There we go. If you match them up, they'll look much neater when you've finished. And you do this with all the limbs, arms and legs, and then you have a nice elongated sausage looking limb as opposed to a plump one. You can, if you prefer to have plump, you can go with the plump. It's up to you how you like the arms and legs. You can leave them like that and stuff them and have fat arms and fat legs if you want. But I quite like having like elongated sausagey looking arms and legs, so that's why I'm doing them like this. Try and keep on the same stitches to make it even all the way down. Good thing about using my phone is I can actually see what I'm filming as opposed to my camera, which I can't see what I'm filming. My phone obviously has the camera on both sides. Get to the very end and tie it off. Once you get rid of all the excess tie it off, and on this side tie it off again. I've got way too much yarn here. Let me get rid of the excess. I don't need that. So you loop it again, bring it into a nice tight finish, and then what I do is I work it in to the yarn like so, take it out, and then you can't see the end. There we go. So that's the leg. You can see it makes a nice sausagey shaped leg. So that's what I'm doing with all of the limbs, arms, legs, and once I've done that I shall come back and show you how to work on the body. Right, now what I'm going to do, I've got the eyes, little blue eyes, and the nose, little black nose, and I'm going to start by shaping the head. So what I need is I need to start with a length of yarn, like so. Try and work out where the middle is, which I'd say is about there. And then what I need to do is I need to try and keep it level so that I am knitting all the way through on the same line as best as I can. So I put it in to that one, then into the next one, then into the next one, trying to ensure I keep a straight line, into the next one, like so, like a concertina, checking that I'm still pretty straight. To the next one. Pull it through. Next one. Next one. Next one. All the way along. Hopefully keeping it as straight as I can. So that when I get back to there, it's on the same level. Looking good. That will shape the head for you, like so. And obviously now what I need to do is I need to put the nose, which I believe is roughly there, the centre. Then I want the eyes to be there. There it is. And what's that? 1, 2. 1, 2. And there. That should be okay. They look about even. Right, so what I need to do now is I need to put the backs on. I'll start with the nose because it fiddles about a bit, the nose. Two, 1, 2. And you just clip the back on until it goes firmly on. Can be a bit of a tight squeeze. Oops. Doesn't help when you drop the eye. This might not be the right size. Let's have a look. See a bigger one. That looks the same size. I don't think there's a bigger one. Nope. So it's just a case of forcing it in till it pops. Is that it? That's it. So that one's in. Now the eyes, well, that one stayed where it should be. Let's just check. It'll be 1, 2 across, which it is. And that one. Let's get that eye in. That's easier to get in. Next one, which I've dropped. Oh, that bounce all over. Just get another one. Get a blue one. Okay. Ooh. So 1, 2 across, 1, 2 across. Is it on the right level? That one's a bit squishy now that I've put it in. Pull him up. And look the same place. It does. Put this in. Right, so I'm happy with that. And then what I do is I'll put a little bit of black for the mouth there, but leave that like that for now. I need to get the fibre filled and I'll start filling it. Right, now it's time to start filling. Do the head first. Have to play around a bit to get the shape you want. A little bit more, don't want too fat. Right, fill that in. Look okay, I think it does. That looks okay. Now for the body. A fat little body. Remember, you're going to put a drawstring round there, which I'm going to do in a moment once I've got the head squished. Right, that's the head. Tie it off. And I'll tie it as tight as I feel that it's necessary. That's one. Two. Looks okay. And the body. Right, I'm going to put the drawstring round. Keep that there for the head. Another bit of yarn for the body. That's going properly. And with double knit wool you do tend to get snags. This is obviously 4-ply double knit, even though it doesn't tell me anything on the actual label, it just tells me it's acrylic. Okay, so what you now need to do, you now need to go around the body and pick it up at the ends. All the way round, like so. Make sure I'm in the camera. Don't lose your little end. All the way around the edge. This is going to be a fat little body. Make sure that you've got the same edge all the way. Time consuming, but it's worth it. It's a good little hobby if you want to, like me, retired, and you want to have something to do that keeps you occupied. I'm also trying to learn how to play the piano, although I haven't been on for a little while, but I do need to start doing that again. My nephew bought me a keyboard for Christmas, so I've got no excuse, except I've been doing knitting. That's my excuse. It's all productive. I've got tons of diamond art to do as well, including one of my little pussycat that passed away that I had specially designed, which I need to do, and I might at some point do some diamond art online. I might change it to Knit with Mags and Craft. Mr. Bob is still out in case anybody's interested. He likes to be out and about, and even when I call him in, he sits there as if to say, "What you calling me in for?" Keep going. I might chop this bit out. Keep going. Over the end. Nearly there. Keep on swimming, keep on swimming. Right, so I'm right back where I started, and now what I need to do is I need to push all the padding in, pull this, see how much I like it or not. Is it fat enough? I think I might have a little bit more fibre fill. I'd like it nice and chunky, since I've got to put legs and arms on it. I need it to be quite chunky. Right, that looks good. Pull it for 2, tie it off as tight as you can. You probably have to sew it at the end, but you're going to be putting legs on anyway, so that's fine. Pull it and tie again, and pull it. There we are. So that's your body done. I'm going to stop, and I'm going to then show you how to put the legs and arms on and the ears. Right, you can, if you want, go back in and pick up all of the bits that you can't see. I personally think that looks okay without doing that. Right, so I'm going to cut this like so. So you can use the same pattern if you wanted to make something like a rabbit, put a tail on it, a snowman for Christmas. I'm going to have a little tea party for my very, very young nieces and nephews. They're only little, bless them. They're actually great nieces and nephews. And I've said I'll have a tea party because they're off school at the moment. Make them some nice cakes and biscuits and sandwiches. We'll have a nice time with the Auntie Margaret. And just putting these inside, out the way. No one knows they're there and they're secure. There we are. Okay, so you've got a nice neat little end, got a nice little head, eyes and ears, and what I'm going to do now, before I do the arms and legs, is I'm going to do the little mouth, so you can see what I do with the mouth. I'm going to stop it for a moment. Right, I'm back. So I've got some black yarn, darning needle, I think I'm going to turn the nose so that it's not that way, it's a little turn for me, should do, since it's a circle underneath. This is when I get it all wrong and it won't turn. Oh no, come on, you can do it. There we go. Oops, nearly there. Right, so the pointy bit's pointing down, and then what I do is I put in there, and then right at the point I come out. Then I go back in where I started. Come back out, so that's nice and secure. Then go back in where you started. Go up a little. So that, come back down where you started, and then go up a little that side. Oops, not too far up, you want it to be roughly the same place, that way. And then come back where you started. And out through the back of your yarn. Let's have a check, see if that looks pretty even. Yep. Cut that off. Tidy it up. And then you've got your little teddy bear nose and mouth. That still wants to go the other way. Right, there we go, you've got your teddy bear nose and mouth. So that's the body done. I'm going to put all the arms and legs and that on now. Right, I'm going to start with the legs. Hopefully I've got enough yarn here for the first one. I've got them upside down. Oh, I haven't cut that out yet. Cut that out. So nobody knows it's there. Don't cut your main wool. Right, one leg. Put the stitched bit at the back. Put it as close to the middle as you can. And then Oh, I'm going to have some bigger yarn. I just don't want to run out. I want it secure, so I'm going to be going through every little section. Right. Okay, so you have that at the back, the bit you sewed in. Put it as close to the middle as you can, and then start going into the bear and out again, so that you're hiding your stitches. So yeah, as close to there as you can. In. And what I'm going to do, just because I want it as secure as possible, is I am going to knot a little knot. I don't want too much left, but I'm going to knot it there just to get it secure to the body. And there, twice. And that way I can concentrate on where I've got it. Right, and then you just keep going, oops, in to the wool, into the leg, and you're hiding your stitches underneath. Again, in to the wool, into the leg, and you're hiding your stitches underneath. Okay, you do that all the way along. And then you'll end up with a nice little leg on the end. So I'll come back once I've put the legs on, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the arms. Right, just to show you, there's the legs on. I just knitted into all of them, put the seams down the back, kept them as close to the middle bit as I could. And that's the result. I didn't have to put any fibre fill in because it's quite sturdy anyway and soft, so we didn't need any more padding. So that's the legs on. I'm just going to do the arms now. So again, you want the seam at the back and you want the arms to be close to the head. So just let me get a decent length of wool. Looking canny so far. If you're not from the northeast, canny means good or nice or whatever you want it to mean. It means a good thing. So what I want to do is I want to put the arms as close to the top of the head as possible. I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to do exactly the same as I did with the legs, where I tie it off at the beginning to secure it. There we go, twice. And then you go under and out, and then your stitches go inside and carry on under. Oops, let's get a decent bit of wool out, and you carry on doing that all the way around to the end. And once I've done that, again, I will come back and then we'll put the ears on. When you're coming to the end, all I do is I knit under and do the loop tie off, like so. And again, knit under and loop tie off, like so, and then you just hide it within your work. There we go, like that. Cut that off, cut cut your starting one off, and there's your arms, ready to cuddle a little one. And then I'll do the other side, and then we'll put the ears on. Right, I've put one ear on already. I'll show you how I put the ears on. Should have had this ready to go, sorry. Right, so I again went for the centre, put the ear on like that, make sure they're roughly the same place, but near to the centre, and then I went in, tied it off, same as I did with the limbs. 1, 2, and then carried on going around, trying to match up where they are, like so. Oops. In and out. In and out. Keep checking to see that they look pretty even. Yeah. In and out. Going underneath your work. In and out. Going all the way around till you get back to where you started. In and out. In and out. All the way till they're nice and secure. And you get back to where you started. And there we go, back where we started. Then you do a little loop cast off twice. This one. Pull it tight, and 2, pull it tight, and just go into your work and come back out. And cut that off, cut that off. Oops, let's do it. Make sure they look pretty much the same. Yeah, looking good. And then there's your little bear. There we are. You might have to play around with making him a little bit more sort of centralised. Let's pull it over so you can see him in full. And there he is. If you want, you can put a little button on there for a little buttonhole. Or you can put something on his back so that he's got a little tail if you want. What I'm going to do, I've got some made by hand labels that I can put on that I will sew onto there. They're like a little leatherette label. And that's him done. There we are. I'm going to call him Pinkston because he's very pink. And that eyes drive me nuts because it will not stay outside of the wool. Wonder. No, I don't think. I think that's what I need to do, stretch it a bit. I think I might have tightened him a little bit more than I did the other one. Right, so that's Pinkston for you. It's very simple to make, especially if you're just starting on using circular knitting machines. They're a lot easier than hand knitting, a lot quicker. And good luck to any sort of projects that you do. I think next time I'll do the hat and scarf project that most people do with the circular knitting machine. He's very cuddly, very soft. I'm sure one of my nieces and nephews will be wanting him. But I'm doing stuff for charity, so he'll probably go to the charity shop. Right, so until the next one, goodbye for now, and good luck crafting.